Bismillahirrahmanirrahim. My name is Malaika and I am from the Department of BS Chemistry. This is the course of Environmental Chemistry and the topic which I am going to present is synthetic fertilizers. So synthetic or inorganic fertilizers are chemically manufactured materials containing one or more of the primary nutrients necessary for the plant growth. Until 100 years ago, fertilizers were all organic because the science behind synthetic or inorganic fertilizers had not been developed. Now, inorganic fertilizers are used because researchers revealed that plants develop well using inorganic fertilizers. So, we have commonly used inorganic fertilizers which are nitrogen, phosphorus, potassium, calcium, magnesium, sulfur, micronutrient, and mixed fertilizers. So, we'll discuss them one by one and their sources also. The sources of nitrogen fertilizer include, first of all, ammonium sulfate. It has been used for many years in both the sugarcane and pineapple industries. It will lower the soil pH if used continuously for a long period of time. Second source is ammonium phosphate. So, monoammonium phosphate and diammonium phosphate are widely used to supply both nitrogen and phosphorus. Both are completely water soluble. Monoammonium phosphate initially causes soil pH to be 3.5, while with diammonium phosphate the pH is 8.0. Third one is potassium nitrate. It contains two essential nutrients, nitrogen and potassium oxide. It is not hygroscopic, so it is easy to apply and it causes the soil pH to increase slightly. Next is calcium nitrate. It contains nitrogen and calcium oxide. It is extremely hygroscopic. Next source is urea. It contains 46% nitrogen. It is less corrosive than other nitrogen fertilizers. It is soluble and it can leach as readily as nitrate. It contains varying amounts of biuret, but most crops can tolerate biuret level of 2% or less. Biuret is basically an organic compound that it basically is related to the class of condensed ureas. The last source is sulfur coated urea. It is a fertilizer that has a sulfur shell around each urea particle. It contains nitrogen and it can also supply sulfur as it is oxidized by microorganisms. Here is a pie chart explaining the percentage of nitrogen fertilizer products. Next we have phosphorus fertilizer. So its source include rock phosphate. It contains diphosphorus pentaoxide which is solely available to plants and persists in the soil for many years. Rock phosphates can be quite effective on certain long-term crops such as pastures and perennials. Then we have superphosphates. So a single superphosphate is 16 to 20% diphosphorus pentoxide and triple sulfur phosphate with 44 to 52% of phosphorus oxide. These are neutral fertilizers having little effect on soil pH. And ammonium phosphates, as discussed earlier, it can also produce phosphorus. Then we have potassium fertilizers. So its first source is potassium chloride. It contains 60 to 63% potassium oxide and is completely water soluble. It is most widely used potassium fertilizer. Second is potassium sulfate. It contains 50 to 53% potassium oxide and 17% sulfur. It is used on crops such as potato and avocado that are sensitive to large applications of chlorides. It is completely water soluble. Next is potassium nitrate. It is readily soluble and increases soil pH. It supplies 44% potassium oxide and 13% nitrogen. Next is potassium magnesium sulfate. It supplies 22% potassium, 11% magnesium, and 22% sulfur. It is widely used in dry fertilizer formulations. Next, we have calcium fertilizers. Its source include lime. It is used to adjust soil pH and supply calcium. It contains 22% calcium. Calcium sulfate. It is useful in soils with adequate pH for plants. It contains 23% calcium and 19% sulfur. Next is calcium nitrate. It is highly soluble and supplies 15% nitrogen and 20% calcium. And superphosphates, as discussed earlier, they are also a source of calcium fertilizers. Next we have magnesium fertilizers. Its source include dolomite. It is used as a liming material, supplies both calcium and magnesium in amounts that may vary. Next is magnesium sulfate. It supplies magnesium and sulfur without changing soil pH. It is readily soluble and can be applied to the soil. Next is magnesium oxide. It contains 55% magnesium and will increase soil pH. It is not readily soluble, so it nearly always should be incorporated into the soil. Next is sulfur fertilizer. There are two main sources of sulfur fertilizer. First is elemental sulfur. It is inert and water soluble and must be converted to sulfate by soil microorganisms before it can be used by plants. Sulfur will lower the soil pH. And next is ammonium sulfate. It contains 24% sulfur along with the nitrogen and is a means of supplying sulfur to the soil and plants. This is one of the most acidifying fertilizer material because both ammonium and sulfate contribute to acidity. Next, we have micronutrient fertilizers. Its sources include ferrous sulfate. It contains about 19% iron and can be applied to the soil. Iron EDTA. It contains 5 to 14% iron and can be applied to the soil. Zinc sulfate. It contains 35% zinc. Since zinc is immobile in soil, immobiles mean motionless, so should be incorporated into the soil. Next is zinc EDTA. It contains 14% zinc and can be applied to the soil. Then copper sulfate. It contains 25% copper and may be applied to the soil. Copper EDTA. It is soluble and contains 13% copper. It is generally used as a foliar spray. Foliar spray involves applying fertilizer directly to the plant's leaves as opposed to putting it in the soil. Next, sodium borate. It contains about 11% boron. Application rate of borate depend on the crop and soil and are generally quite low because boron can become toxic at high rates. At last, we have mixed fertilizers. So many different combinations of the basic nitrogen, phosphorus and potassium fertilizers are formulated by fertilizers manufacturers to meet the special needs of farmers and home gardeners. These formulations provide the opportunity to apply only the combinations of nutrients that are needed and thus make it possible to avoid over application of nutrients that are already adequate or in excess. It is necessary to identify the blend that best suits a particular purpose and costs the least per unit of nutrient. Now, coming towards some of the uses of synthetic fertilizers, nitrogen fertilizers are mainly used for the production of ammonia. Phosphorus is linked to a plant's ability to use and store energy, including the process of photosynthesis. It is also needed to help plants grow and develop normally. Potassium is used to strengthen plants' ability to resist disease and is used to increase crop yield and overall quality. Calcium fertilizers are used to promote cell division and growth and directly affect fruit quality. Magnesium fertilizers are used to correct growth problems during growing seasons. Sulfur assists in seed oil production and is almost important in helping give flavor to mustard, onions, and garlic. Micronutrients promote essential plant process and growth. Mixed fertilizers are used for balanced manuring. It results in higher crop yield. That's all from my side. Thank you.